Guys, welcome to the FPPL Division 4 Southeast Draft. We're away off the bat here with Connor McDavid, Nathan McKinnon, Ron and Bazo both making their first picks. Then we've got Walmart's here onto Leon Draisaitl. Bibu's Babes is definitely a name. He's on the clock now at the 4 spot. We are Southeast. Kale McCarr at the 4. We've seen a couple people do that. What's up, Park? How are you? Kucherov at the 5, which, you know, if you don't get McCarr at the 5, Kucherov's a pretty good one to hold on to here at that 5 spot. You then see Matthews go at the 6, Pasta at the 7, Kaprizov at the 8. So again, not seeing a ton of variation. So let me sort this. And then we see Brady go off the board at the 109. So again, pretty standard start. $110 is where it gets interesting, and we've seen a lot of different directions here. We've seen people go goalie. We've seen people go defenseman. We've seen people, you know, take the easy pick in Mikko Rantanen. We've seen people go Jack Hughes. So 10 is where it gets interesting, and Tattooed really takes his time there. Brandon might have been an auto pick, but unsure. Hockey Balboa is going to snatch Quinn Hughes. My draft last night got paused at the 12. That's pretty insane, Wyatt. I feel like Jackson Lacomb's going to go nuclear. He might. If they take a step, if Anaheim takes a step, he's probably going to be a big contributor because of it. Where do you take Jack Hughes in a 10-year reset, 8 keeper Cats? I mean, probably top 10 for me, maybe even like, I don't know, top 8. Speaking of Jack Hughes, he goes off the board there to Timo. So 112, you're going to get Jack. And what does he elect to do at the 112? Rasmus Dahlin. Okay, that's a pretty good start. Not to be weird, was that you at Chuck's last week? No, I was not. Brandon, I was not at Chuck's Roadhouse. That was definitely not me. So good thing you didn't go say hi. Jack Eichel at the 2.2. Got first overall pick this year. Loki want to go off the board and take Cooch. That's insane. J-Mac, that's nuts. That's pretty wild. Nice trade today, Chris. Thank you, Wicked. Yeah, I'm thinking about doing a stream with doing a team review. I talked about it in last night's FPPL draft just briefly, but I haven't found the time because I'm basically streaming every day with all these FPPL ones. What's up, Tristan? So we see Tage go off the board here. That's not a terrible spot for Tage. We normally don't see him go that early, but if you're super high on him, then by all means. Hulkamaniacs now on the clock. So he's got Brady to start off, left center. He's going to grab Zach Werenski here, and that's a pretty good start. Seen people saying Anaheim's going to run a 1A, 1B. I haven't seen anything like that yet, Carl. How would you rank Leo Carlson versus McTavish versus Nazar? If it's for this season, I think it is in that order of Leo, McTavish, Nazar. William Nylander at the 2.5. Can't ever complain about starting off your draft with Krill into Will. It's a ton of shot volume. It's a ton of goal scoring. It's a ton of points. Like that's a great start for Static. Kachuk cheese. I think he forgot to put Kachuk cheese. But we've got Roman Josi now going off the board. That's pretty early, taking Josi over Evan Bouchard especially. But Kachuk feels like it's worth it, so he's going to snatch him up. BD, I haven't had a chance to watch that yet. I'm definitely going to find some time. It's tough. Like I feel like I have no time to myself these days between work and then doing these FPPL streams and then, trying to mix in a video. Sin's going to grab Kyle Connor at the 2.7. Kristen's now on the clock after going Kucherov at the 5 spot. I mean, Bouchard is available, so potentially could snag him here. Absolutely bonkers, but it's also securing that top right wing position. Then can fade centers down the draft. I like but J-Mac, like, what happens if McDavid scores 60? Connor Hellebuyck at the 2.8. Okay, so we see a goalie go off the board early. 17 draft tomorrow night, strictly a points league. Would you recommend punting D-man since forwards are worth way more on the format? If it's like total points season long, Evan, yeah, I'm good with it. If it's head to head, you're still going to have like your D match up against their D. So it's kind of, same regard where you want to grab an elite D within your first 3 rounds. But you can be a little bit more lenient, I think. Bebo's then going to grab Philip Forsberg. So Makar Forsberg is a pretty great start. Yoshi's move of the draft board a couple weeks needs to be studied. Yeah, J-Mac, I think like people are just, again, not overreacting the preseason, but being like, oh, like he's 100% good right now. We know how good he is when he's healthy, but it's kind of like at the same time you're trying to guess the future a little bit in terms of how he's going to feel. Because if in 2 weeks it's just like, yeah, I'm shutting it down, then you're kind of just screwed at that point. Mitch Marner then goes to Walmart. I kind of like that name. That name's kind of funny. Bazo's going to then grab Evan Bouchard at the 211, which is a great pickup for him. Normally, Bouchard is well gone by this point, and we start to see these guys at the turn here snag a couple of like the second tier defensemen. Ron's going to grab Sam Reinhart after going McDavid. How much do I prioritize off nights in FPP? The only time where I'm prioritizing off nights is when I'm streaming players. I don't think you should ever draft according to like off nights. That's just silly to me. Sergachev is going to go. We haven't seen him go first. Fox, Morrissey. Bazo's then going to grab Panarin. Can't complain about that. The big boy draft is on Monday. Brandon, I'm assuming you're referring to the Creators League. That one will be on Monday, and I will be streaming that one as well. Actually, like fully live streaming that, so you guys will see my thought process like through the draft and everything. So that'll be a fun one. Is Rain and Connor okay for the first 2 picks? I mean, yeah, depending on how goalies are scaled. If you're talking FPPL settings, I think, it's fine grabbing Helly in the round 2. He'd probably be the only goalie that I would grab in round 2 if I really wanted a goalie. But I just think, like, I think there's just so much good value at goaltending. Jake Gensel at the 3.4. Lane Hudson goes before. Now, that is early for Lane. Like, that's kind of crazy to me. Like, Morrissey's still on the board. Fox is still on the board. Sider, Uyghur. Like, the fact that we've seen Sergachev and Hudson go before is kind of crazy. Christian's on the clock, though. Bazo might have the best start so far. McKinnon, Bouchard, Panarin. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. We're only through 3 rounds right now, though. Victor Hedman finally off the board. I didn't even mention Hedman. So Christian's going to snag him. He's got that Kucherov Hedman power play stack. Clayton Keller is then going to go to Sin. I low-key love watching these Division 4 FPPL drafts because you never know what direction people are going to go. Tim Stützle finally off the board at the 3.7. So pick 37. On to pick 38, we've got Static, who's had a great start in Kaprizov, Nylander. And then he's going to snag Braden Point. So, I mean, like, you can't really complain. You've got a left wing, a center, and a right wing to start off from Static. Almost every team has a defenseman so far. Hulkamaniac's down the clock. Stützle stinks, can't score. Yeah, like, the shot volume and this goal scoring is really kind of what hinders him in fantasy hockey, but he's got triple-digit hits. So I feel like if he scores 30 goals and gets you around like 210, 220 shots, like you see out of like a Keller or like a Bratt, for example, like the triple-digit hits are just going to have great value. Makar Forsberg Gensel is a really good start. Yep. And I feel like there's a lot of right wingers available. Crosby, Morrissey reminds you of a low budget Barzell. I don't agree with that, Cars. Barzell's like a 60-point guy. Morrissey then goes off the clock. Boldy, that's great value there for Boldy. We normally see him kind of go in the early 3rd. Timo on the clock now. Jack Hughes Dulling's a really good start at the 112. If you're telling me I was able to get yeah, dude, Barzal had 80 points like 2 years ago, though. Other than that, he's like a 60 point. Like, he's good. Like, he's around a point per game. He just hasn't really been healthy. But so is Timmy. And then Timmy gets you like 100 hits. Like, I see what you're saying, but like, I think the ceiling's better for Stützle. We finally see Sider and Weir go off the board after Timo elects to grab Jason Robertson with his 3rd round pick there. Wyatt Johnson in the 4th round is great value there for Tattooed. That is a wild name now that I read that out loud. Wow. Think Nietzsche is going to be crazy good this year. Thoughts, Chris? I think he's in a really good spot. I think he's got a really good ceiling playing with McKinnon and Makar. They should run that guy into the ground. We saw last year he was getting over 20 minutes time on ice. So that is a great first 4 picks from the 12 spot. I agree. Hulkamaniac's now on the clock here. Adam Fox is finally going to go off the board at the 4.4. I'll be drafting 3rd this Sunday. Could you give your opinion on the 3rd pick choices? I had the 3rd pick, and I went with Draisaitl Jad. Draisaitl's pretty safe. And if for whatever reason McDavid or McKinnon falls to you at 3, you just snatch them up and laugh. But I went with Draisaitl when I was drafting an FPPL. Jake Sanderson off the board at the 4.5. I think that's good value there for Static. How would you rank Crosby, Miller, Tage, Keller, J-Rob, Gensel? Ooh, I'd say Miller first, Tage, Crosby, Gensel, Keller, J-Rob, I think is how I would go. Speaking of JT Miller, he finally goes in round 4. That is insane. Can we just talk about how J-Rob, Boldy, Point, Gensel all went before JT Miller? That's insane value there for Kachuk Cheese. We are seeing him skate in a non-contact jersey, though, so I'm assuming that's why he's kind of dropped. Andre Vasilevsky at the 4.7. Christian's down the clock. Moose, I don't think it was... I wouldn't call it a fleece. I think I got the best player in the trade, though. I did give up Kempe. Jesper Bratt finally goes off the board. Martin Nietzsche finally goes off the board. We're starting to see these like second and third round forwards fall into the later rounds here a little bit because of how many defensemen have gone. I'd be doing push-ups in my living room if I got JT in round 4. Same, Tristan. Macklin Celebrini at the 410. Igor finally off the board here at the 411. So that ends that kind of elite tier. Actually, that's not true. Otter is still there. The trade was posted in FPPL updates that I made today, guys. If you want to go check that out. Michkov goes at the 412 spot, followed by Dougie Hamilton. That seems really early for Michkov, but, you know, if you're high on him and you believe he's going to be around a point per game, maybe that's your guy. Maybe you're looking for a right winger there, but then Caulfield off the board. That's a good pick there by Bazo. And then Walmart is going to grab Jake Onger at the 5-3. Every single... See what Bebo's decides to do here. Seth Jarvis in round 5. Okay. I noticed that as well, Nate. Christian is on the clock here. You got to think... Cooch, Helly, Hedman, Bratt is not a terrible start in your first 4 rounds. Snags Alexander Ovechkin at the 5.5. Guys, let's run a poll. I want to run a poll. Does Ovi score 30 plus goals this season? Nick Suzuki, Adrian Kempe finally at the 5.7. So Kachuk Cheese has been able to snag JT Miller and Kempe in round 4 and round 5. In a new 12-team keeper, how high would you take Celebrini or Bedard? I'd say like end of first round, maybe. Yeah, you know what? I would probably go like mid-second round in a keeper. Brandon Hagel then goes. Kachuk Cheese does have an insane start. I'm not sure I love the Yossi at the 2.6, but I mean you can't really say anything about getting JT Miller round 4 and then Kempe round 5. Bedard finally off the board there to Hulkamaniacs. %73%. All right. We're gonna end that poll. We're now gonna have another poll. Does Ovi score 35 plus goals this season? Timo Meyer, Elias Pettersson is great value there in round 5. Timo is going to grab DeBrincat. Do you like stacking players? It's not normally something that I look to do in points leagues. I think it's better in categories leagues, especially in the head-to-heads where you can just, outright win weeks if you have like a Tampa power play stack, for example. But in a points league, it's like not as influential, I would say. He's going to limp to 30. 61% of people are saying no right now. Jacob Markstrom. It's a little early for Kyrou, in my opinion, but now that we're seeing him on power play 2, he's kind of dropped a little bit in my rankings. Bobrovsky then goes. So we've seen a couple teams grab some goalies here. Dylan Guenther finally goes in round 6. We saw him go early round 5 in my draft, and I was punching air because of it. Thomas Harley, that's great value there for Sin, grabbing his first defenseman. Look at how many wingers, centers, goalies go before defensemen. That might be the longest streak I've seen in a while. Were there any considerations to changes to FPPL this year that were close to happening but didn't? I think we briefly had talked about the utility spot, but ultimately we had decided to just leave it. I can't remember if we talked about it. But I think no real changes on the scoring. As for the actual point system within the league, no. Like, you'll get points for finishing top in your league, and then you'll grab points for obviously winning in the playoffs. Jacob Chikrin, Shea Theodore, we're starting to see some Dio off the board now as Bibu grabs his second guy with Walmart now on the clock. Who'd be your top 3 player value in points leagues? Only points, it'd be McDavid, it'd be McKinnon, it would be... Only points, probably Kucherov, maybe Draisaitl. I'd consider Kuch over Draisaitl if we were talking points only. It's probably Kuch. Thomas Harley worries me with the power play 2 currently. Are you going Seth Jones over him, Chris? No, I'm still going Thomas Harley. Robert Thomas, that's early for Robert Thomas, in my opinion. There's still a lot of great centers available right now. I think Harley is just going to play himself onto that top spot. UC Saros is Ron's first goalie. All right, so 61% of you said no to 35 plus. Interesting. Ron's then going to snatch Nikolai Ehlers. Ovi also an empty net merchant. True. Seth Jones. Again, we finally saw some Florida power play line rushes, and we were able to see that both Seth Jones and Ekblad are playing on that top power play unit. Miro Heiskanen off the board to Walmart. Do you have a player that you think will have a terrific season? Lionel, if you go watch any of our videos, anybody in any of our videos except for the must avoids or the don't drafts videos, we think are going to have great seasons. That's why we've highlighted them for you. If we're talking about me personally, it's Dylan Guenther to the moon. It is Dylan Guenther's season. There's some part of me that does wholeheartedly believe if he plays with Clayton Keller the entire season, he could score 50. I know that sounds insane, but I think this guy's going to the absolute moon. But I've been wrong before. So I also just love the player in general. Like, I have a personal bias towards him just because, like, I love watching him play. But yeah, I'm super excited to watch him. Reached on him in my keeper. Lucas Raymond then goes off the board after Charlie McAvoy. So Bibu is the first one to 3 defensemen. Noah Dobson's then going to go to Sin. Nietzsche's, Guenther, yep. Eck. If Jeek plays power play 1, yes, but he's currently not skating with Kaprizov 5-on-5. Jarvis, yes, I'm high on. I think adding Ehlers to that top line, he's gonna eclipse his point total from what we saw last season. Barzell, yeah, he'll have a bounce back. Casper, I'm a little hesitant. He's really got to stay in that top 6. Which he should. Like, they loved him in that top 6 at the end of the year. And if he skates between, like, DeBrincat and Kane the whole season, like, that's fine. But I don't know what's going on with Detroit and this Emmett Finney guy who's playing top line right now. But maybe he just gets the 9 games. Nazar, I like. Riley, I like. Holloway, I like. Holloway's interesting because he's not getting power play 1 time now, but I agree with most of those cars. We see Alex Tuck go. Sebastian Aho finally off the board into round 7. That's a great value there for Static. Thoughts on the chances of Parekh stealing power play 1 from Weir this season? I think if he makes the team, he's going to get power play 1 reps. It may take a little bit. Like, I think it'll be very Lane Hudson-esque, where it may take him like a little bit through the season to get accustomed. But if he's on the team, he should be the power play 1D. John Tavares off the board here by Hulkamaniacs. Surprised you didn't mention Fantilli after all your videos. I love Fantilli too. Like, I think, but for whatever reason, like Dean Evison just refuses to play him like he should. Shane Gostisbehere, Philip Gustafson. So we see Hockey grab his first goalie there. Vincent Trocheck then off the board, and Timo goes back-to-back centers and then grabs Jackson Lacombe for his third defenseman. I would hold Jeek, Ian. I would hold on to him. His peripherals are so good. Even if he's playing line 2, like, he'll probably get you better points on average than Yossi or Rossi, excuse me. And he should be power play 1 still. Dustin Wolf. All right, so Hockey's going to solidify both his goalies right there. Dustin Wolf's an interesting one for me this season. I think he's going to get a ton of volume. And honestly, like a 9-10 could just realistically be the floor for him. Like, he's been truly elite at every single level, so I'm curious to see how he's going to do. But, like, you talk about a guy with a really high ceiling, I think Wolf is that guy. Cole Perfetti. That is really early for Cole Perfetti there. Wow. It's only preseason, but Tage is holding no prisoners. Yeah, I like... Tage should have a good year. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, BD. It's not even about that. It's just like, why is he not skating line 1? Norris going to have a monster season with Tage if he stays healthy. Yeah, like, it depends on what you think of, like, a monster season. Like, if he gets 60 points, like, he's a great pickup. We're then going to see Matthew Nyes go. But again, he could just get, like, injured and then not play the whole rest of the season like we've seen the past 2-3 years. So, you know, he's definitely, like, hella risky. So Matthew Nyes goes off the board. We're back to static. He goes Aiden Hill. So he's got 1 goalie, 1 defenseman so far. He seems to have elected to punt D along with Kachuk Cheese here. He's going to grab his second defenseman in Brandon Montour. Kachuk finally off the board there at the 8.7. That's a good pick there from Sin. Norris is a fantasy stud when he's healthy. Yeah, his peripherals are solid. It's just when you're injured so long and so often, like, guys, he's never played 70 games in his career. His highest game total is 66 games. He's now 25 and he's missed what? Like, how many years? How many, like 30, probably like over 120, probably like over 200 games if you total it all up over his like 5-6 year career. And his 82 game average is still just 54 points. Like, he's a 50-point guy that gets 160 shots and 170. His hits and block peripherals are good, but I think people are just a little bit too high on him, and I don't think they realize the risk. Travis Konechny in round 8 is insane. So is Drake Batherson. Great pick there by Christian. Got an absolute steal in random Cats League. Had a guy drop Genther to pick up Askarov. That's like a gift from God, Chris. Good for you. Excited to see Sam Renzel this season. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna try and watch more Blackhawks games this year. I just want to watch Bedard, dude. Like, I think this guy's gonna go off. Kevin Fiala is great value there in round 8 as well. I love Kevin Fiala as a player too. Like, it just decides like over like a 2 to 3 week span that he's going to be the best player in the NHL every single year. Mackenzie Blackwood in round 8 is insanely good value. Should be good to go for the early part of the season. Sam Montembeault is going to go there in round 8. Morgan Riley is then going to be snatched up there by Ron as his third defenseman. Cole Perfetti before Fiala is diabolical. Yeah, I don't know about that one. We are in D4 though here, guys. Like, these could be fresh fantasy players that are just looking to get involved in the league. But we take no prisoners here in FPPL drafts. Yeah, Riley is going super late still. I'm confused about it as well. John Carlson's a great pick there as well in round 9. Tristan, I wish I was watching hockey right now. Not that I don't love this. Like, I love fantasy drafts. I've just done like 8 at this point, so I'm kind of a little bit over it, but nah, I'm not over it. I love you guys. Walmart's now on the clock here. He's got 2D, 1 goalie, and 2 pure centermen. Darnell Nurse. All right, that's a good third D. Sorokin is a great G1 there from Bebos. Every time I read Bebos, I think of the Drake line where it's like, what is it? It's like, oh, I'm at the Bebelos making the boat rock or something. I don't know. Christian is then going to grab Erik Karlsson. Sin is now on the clock here. He's going to grab Kirill Marchenko in round 9. Wow. Okay. So 2 crazy good value picks there from Sin. Grabbing Matthew Tkachuk in round 8 and then going Kirill Marchenko in round 9. Svechnikov in round 9. Speaking of great value, Tkachuk, Cheese is going to grab him. He's building himself a very high peripheral team as well, if you look at that, guys. Pasta, Timmy, JT Miller, Kempe. Between Timmy, Miller, and Kempe, you're getting like 400 hits. And then you're picking up Svech as well. Static now on the clock here. Only has 1 defenseman. And if you're Static, you're kind of upset that you're seeing Riley, Karlsson, Nurse, and Erik Karlsson kind of rip off the board there right before your pick. But he's going to grab Sam Bennett as his third pure centerman. Now, remember, guys, there is still a utility spot available. So 3 pure Cs aren't terrible this year. Nate, that's a good question. I think Dallas, if I had to pick. Dallas, I think Vegas will be in contention. I don't think the Oilers have it in them, to be honest. I think Dallas is so strong now that they have Rantanen. Like, Harley's going to take a step this year. Wyatt's going to take a step this year. You add Rand into the mix. Like, I think they're like 1 depth defenseman, maybe even like 1 top 4 defenseman. Their team is just so good. Yeah. Yeah, I think they're 1 top 4 DOA. Because then you've got like Lindell, Heiskanen, Harley, and then Guy, and then you can play Bischel and Nils Lundqvist on your back end. And even like a top 6 center, one of those 2. Or not, sorry, not a center, like a top 6 player. Like, imagine they go get Kempe from LA. Whew. Team's nasty. All right, let me catch up here. Nichushkin in round 9 is great value. Stolars is your G2. He should get a ton of volume. Unsure of what's happening with Joseph Woll currently. Peterka is then going to go Slavkovsky. I love those 2 picks there in round 9. Jordan Binnington as your G1 is a great pick there from Tymo. Noah Hannafin as your third defenseman. for Hockey Balboa. So Tattooed's now on the board. I'm not going to read that guy's full name. That's insane behavior. True. That's true. Lost. You have to factor that in. Columbus is a dark horse contender. I think my dark horse contender to win the Stanley Cup. Let me think. Devils. New Jersey. They need some more depth, but their defense is really good, and I believe Jacob Markstrom can make a run. Yeah. Yeah. They definitely lack some offensive depth. Jeremy Swayman, round 10 is great value. Luke Hughes finally off the board there. Contract and all will go to round 10, two Hulkmanias. Vince Dunn is then going to get snatched there by Static. That's his second defenseman. Kachuk Cheese is then going to grab Aaron Ekblad. Tom Wilson in round 10. That's pretty good value. Wild are my dark horse. I was thinking about them. It's not a bad shout. I don't know how I feel about Gustafsson. Like, he's solid, don't get me wrong. But not a lot of playoff experience. Ricard Raquel, Nico Hischier, those are great picks in round 10 by Christian and Bibos. The league that I moved in from a points league to a categories league, not thrilled with how it works. Any tips? Total, I would try to see if there are specific categories you can focus on winning. So, for example, it's like if you want to go with a real hits-heavy team, so you lock up hits, you could then find other categories where players like... It depends on your categories, but like try and find categories that you can either punt or that you can really focus on. Zach Hyman, round 10. That's good. He's back to skating now after that wrist surgery. Nazem Kadri. Love that in round 10. Not so silent. These are all of our FantasyPuck Patron League drafts. So these are people that have paid money to get into these leagues. Started from, we have a pyramid system from like Division 4. There's a total, like just a ton of teams. And then Division 3, there's 4 teams. Division 2 has East and West. Then Division 1 is just your top division. So you buy in, start round 4, then you work your way up the division pyramid. So these are all like super competitive leagues. Blues, don't feel confident about the Blues. Speaking of Blues, Dylan Holloway just goes off the board. Stamkos and Evander Kane at the turn there for Ron. I think that's still a little early on Evander Kane, but we have seen him getting power play one time. In a 14 points league after Draisaitl at third. I'm hoping for Bouchard to slide to 26, but I really consider going for Genther with my 31st. Should I pick him? I would not draft Genther until the start of round 5. I think there's just so many good players in the first 4 rounds. Gabe Velarde then goes to Walmart. My league draft is Sunday night. Can't wait until the meantime. I've been grinding out these underdog best balls. Yeah, Juno, unfortunately, we're in Ontario, so that kind of prevents us from doing those. Is there prize money for FPPL? We've been doing like trophies for the winners. Mitchell, I did see that. I tweeted. I think it was Blake. I don't even think like Blake, one of the Apples and Geno's guys. I tweeted at him today, because they had. I think it was Nate's projection actually. So I kind of just was making fun. Wow, for Hagee round 11, that's great value. But one of their projections, they had Miko ran in for 32 goals, and I just typed the number 32 and I sent it to them. Lucy Goosey Bennett's still going late, even as the number 1 C on Panthers. He just has a little bit of like injury risk. Would you trade Elias Pettersson for Gabe Vilardi or Owen Tippett or Martin Necas or Roman Josi? I would take Necas and Josi over Pettersson. Don't trade Pettersson for Gabe Vilardi. Don't trade Pettersson for Owen Tippett. Demidov finally off the board there, and Zeev Buium goes right after Verhaeghe. That's great value there, as Christian's going to solidify his 4 defensemen. Sin still hammering forwards. Cats, Bangers, Kachuk or Genther round 6. In a Cats, Bangers, Matt Kachuk every day. Yeah. Because when he comes back, he's probably like a top 8 player. Jad, it's because if you just Google or if you just search up on our channel, it's going to be the Division 3 Central draft is when I drafted at the 3 pick. Tomas Hurdle, he's skating on power play 1 currently, so that's a good little selection there by Kachuk Cheese, also dual eligible. Makar or Dry, pick 3, Bangers League, 8 teams. In an 8-team league, Matthew, I had the 3 spot. We did one with some of our IRL friends. And I went Makar at the 3. So I don't hate that. If you need 6D, Makar at the 3 makes a ton of sense. Cam Fowler then off the board there to Static. Hulkmaniac's going to grab Thatcher Demko. Brandon hitting 40 into sleep. I mean, if he plays on both power plays, absolutely. Drafting 12 in the 14 team league. Should I stretch on D if Quinn Hughes is gone? Joel Eriksson at the 11-10. What I've been doing at the 12 spot, Jonathan, is if Quinn Hughes is available, I probably go him. I think that's fine. And then, you know what? In a 12 team, I would probably take the risk on Jack Hughes. Yeah, if he's available at the 112, I'm going Jack Hughes. And then I'm taking a defenseman, one of Dolly, Norinsky, at Bouchard, Yossi as my second pick. Joel Eriksson at the 11-10. Frank Vetrano at the 11-11. That's good value there for Jeek. See what Timo decides to do. Did I say round 12? Oops, sorry, guys. Alexander Nikishin there. Chances Dougie gets traded this year. I don't know, Dirty Dangler. I'm not the general manager of the New Jersey Devils. Mika Zibanejad in round 12 is great value. Brock Faber. Been seeing a lot of Brock Faber as some people's defenseman 4, maybe even sometimes defenseman 3. I don't hate it on the weird chance that Buium, for whatever reason, doesn't get power play 1. Faber's probably going to be up there. Kiefer Sherwood at the 12.3. He's also got like pretty good block peripheral. He just screams like a Devin Taves type of player, though. Like he's just super, or like a Slavin, like super low event. But as your defenseman 4, it's like it's fine. Like you're normally just taking shots on rookies at that point either way. Drew Doughty. We're seeing pretty consistently that LA's gone to a 5-man forward power play stack. So Doughty and Clark are both. Devin Taves, and then my boy Adam Fantilli at the 12.6 goes to Kachuk. Cheese. Sin quickly after grabs Matt Barzell. Christian's going to snag Thomas Chabot. Ridzel can get 45 to 50 points easy. I would be careful. Like, it's pretty rare for rookie defensemen to, like, I think Hudson's a bit of an anomaly. Like, you look at his situation where there was nobody really blocking him from power play one. Like, they had Matheson there for a little bit, but he quickly solidified himself as the power play one defenseman. Like, he didn't start there, obviously, but like I said, he kind of like worked his way in there. And the team around him is just really like naturally good offensively. So I think it's going to be tough to find. Like, I think Williams in a really good spot. I really like Parek's upside just as a player in general, but most rookie defensemen are going to be like in the 35 to 40 point range. Unoriginated, I can do that, but then I'm almost blocking it. I'll scoot down the Logan Thompson's great value there, round 12. Linus Ullmark is great value there, round 12. So that's Bazo's third goalie after going Igor, Blackwood, and now Ullmark. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins off the board as we get into our final four picks for each team here. Ron taking his time here, has three defensemen, so could grab a D. It's got his two goalies. He's got a ton of forwards. It does elect to go defenseman, grabs Chris Letang. If Nathan McKinnon's at the 3, do I take him over McCarr? Yes. Yeah. Yep. If I took a pick of a 6-man Cats League, can I send it your way and see if you can predict the winner? Do you want to just throw it in Discord, Max? I'll take a look. I mean, it's a 6-team league. Like, every team is going to be disgusting. Zane Parek at the 13-2. We finally see him go off the board after just talking about him. It's underdog, duo, or do hockey best ball or other drafts. I don't know, not so silent. We're in Ontario, so we don't do any of the best ball stuff. McKinnon is a Swiss Army knife. McKinnon is literally a cheat code. Matthew Schaefer. All right. So Walmart taking a shot on Schaefer there. I do think there is some opportunity to play him at power play 1. Nice to meet you, Anthony. Sam Renzel then goes. So 4D in a row. See what Christian decides to do here. He's gone a defenseman 3 times in the last 4 rounds, and he's actually sitting at 5D now. So he can start taking some shots on some guys. Does only have 1 goalie still. Maybe he goes goalie here. If he doesn't like anything, he sees it forward. Logan Cooley is a great pick there by Christian. Wow, that's great value into round 13. Same thing with like Rupe Hintz the round before. Like, there's just so many good centers. Yeah, Mitch, I think D'Angelo will be the power play one guy, but there's something like there's just a gut feeling, like based off seeing how good Schaefer's been, it's like very similar situation to like a Perek. He's just gonna play himself onto that power play one spot, and he's their guy, right? Like he's the guy in New York now, so it's like I would just throw him on power play one. Carl Vejmelka, Matt Duchene. Just a lot of chatting about Vejmelka here. I do agree. I think he's gonna be solid. What ADP do you think is safer, Nichushkin? I like him like round 9, round 10. I'm not crazy high on him because of the injury risk and the fact that he could, like, due to his like issues, could just be like booted off the team, especially after what we saw in playoffs. After McCarr and Hughes, who would you say the next 3 defenseman targets? Rasmus Dahlin, Zach Werenski, Evan Bouchard. Marco Rossi, Pavel Dorofeev, Owen Tippett, Lucas Dostal, Cutter Gauthier. These are some great picks coming in here. I'm going to scoot the thing down slightly here. Gustav Forsling at the 14 spot. Pick 143. So that is Tattoo's third defenseman. So he's got to grab at least one more D. Most GMs in the 6 team are smart. Some are wild. Sounds like a 6-team league to me. Boston doesn't look very good. Do you see Swayman having a good bounce back? I think Swayman's going to be better just in general. Like, I literally think the reason why they got off to such a poor start last year was the fact that, you know, he was kind of late coming in with his contract. And they're going to have a healthy Charlie McAvoy, and they're going to have a healthy Hampus Lindholm. So it's really just about scoring with that team, but I think defensively they should be okay. Or at least a lot better than last year. Jonathan Marchessault at round 14 is great value. We normally, there's times where we see him drop to like round 16, round 17. You snag him with kind of like your last pick there. But round 14 is not terrible. Quinton Byfield, I should have gone like 3 rounds ago, but he's going to go at the 14-5. Was Zib at 12-1 good value there? Yep. Yeah, we normally like to grab Zib around like that 10-11 range. It's going to be power play 1 this year. Who are the best prospects coming up for peripherals and face-offs? Travis Sanheim, Dylan Strome. That's a good question, Jesse. I don't think I'm equipped to answer that. Like, I don't know. Casper? He was playing center. Like, this is the thing. It's like, it's all about where, like, what role these players are playing, and they normally don't make that jump. Like Cooley, Casper, any like young centerman. Speaking of Cooley, not the Cooley that I was referring to, but Will Cooley goes off the board there in round 14. That's really good value. Logan Stankoven's going to be playing center, second line center in Carolina. Macklin Celebrini. Like, are we talking about guys that like aren't drafted right now? Because I have no idea. Like, I don't know how to answer that. Walmart back on the clock now. I think he's got 4D. Yeah, he's got Hudson, Heiskanen, Nurse, Schaefer. He's going to grab Nick Schmaltz. Nick Schmaltz is pretty automatic for like 60 points every single year. Center right wing eligible. Tyler Toffoli. Who do you prefer, Gensel or Hughes? Hughes. Joey DeCord as Ron's third goalie, and then Patrick Laine into round 15. Guys, if you are enjoying the stream, hit a like. There is currently 90 of you here. If you guys are enjoying the content, leave a like. We've only got a couple more drafts left. There is 2 on Saturday, 1 Sunday, and then probably the sweatiest draft that you'll see outside of our Division 1 draft. But the Creators League goes live Monday night. I'll be drafting from my computer screen right here in front of you with some of the best fantasy hockey content creators. Ken Johnson at the 15.2. We love that pick. It's a good pick there by Bazo. Pierre-Luc Dubois. Will Smith is a great pick there by Bebos. Poor Skinner, no one believes. Thoughts on John Carlson? Pretty solid power play 1 quarterback. Yeah, Mitchell, he's good. You're getting him at a discount this year, but he should be, again, pretty much a solid 40-point guy. It's going to be power play 1 the whole year. He gets you like around 130 blocks every single season. Like, he's good. Pyotr Kochekov goes to Christian's team. That's going to be his second goalie after Connor Hellebuck. Tony D'Angelo is then going to go to Sin. That's going to be his 4th defenseman. Norris, Monahan, Kopitar. Who do you like the best? I think with the current role, Monahan and Norris are pretty close. Norris is definitely risky. Monahan has a history of scoring around 30 goals. Was over a point a game last year. Yeah, I'd say like Monahan and Norris are close. One's riskier than the other. But I think like Norris has better per game rates. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. I believe that's Kachuk Cheese's second goalie, who's now week to week. Why is Chikrin going before Carlson? Chikrin's also power play 1. They run 2 defensemen on their top power play. And Chikrin has better goal shot block upside. Alexi Protas, Brad Marchand, Matthias Ekholm. Marchand should see an elevated role with all the injuries that Florida's seeing. Logan Stankoven going off the board now, followed by Dylan Cousins at the 15th round. I like that pick. And then William Eklund at the 16-1. Jake DeBrusk then at the 16-2. In a Cats League, is 3-player stack too much? Marner, Hurdle, and Theo. No, you're good there, Chris. Like, I wouldn't even consider that a stack simply because of, like, you're probably not drafting those guys. Like, it's not like going... Like, Theodore might not even be power play 1. They put Marner on that top power play unit as, like, a 5-man stack. 5-man forwards. But I think that's fine. Like, you have a lot of secondary guys. As long as you didn't, like, reach for it. But typically when you try and stack players, you want, like, the best guys. Patrick Kane, Mason McTavish. We'll see how McTavish does. Like, I was pretty high on him. I believe he was in my breakouts video. Did have a really good second year. Or second half of the season, excuse me. Couple picks remaining here. Ivan Barbashev currently skating line 1 with Eichel and Marner, and then power play 2. Kachuk Cheese on the clock here. 5 defensemen. Only 1 pure center in Adam Fantilli. So you got to think you could find some center value here. Anton Lundell is definitely one of them. Sin is quickly going to snatch up Stuart Skinner. There's still a pretty solid centerman available right now. Freddie Anderson. So Christian grabs both the Carolina goalies. Should I dump Dorofiev? No, you should just be able to throw him on IR. Like IR plus. Loosey-goosey. Just got to wait to see where he slots back in once he's healthy. Because, I mean, like, that guy scored 35 goals. Like, surely, you got to hope they don't bury that guy. How bad does Theo not being power play 1 hurt his value? We don't know yet for sure, Ian. They've just been kind of going back and forth. But it's tough to, like, take him as your D1. Spencer Knight, he's going to get a ton of volume in Chicago. There is 2 drafts on Sunday for FPPL. Are you high on Sam Bennett this year? Yeah. Yeah. The problem is that, like, it's not a problem with Bennett. Well, it is a problem with Bennett, but he's just injury prone. Bo Horvat's a really good pick here. That's the guy I was thinking of. Basically 30 goals, 30 assists every single season, 250 shots, 100 hits. Like, really, really solid pick there, Horvat. Brock Besser's got some upside. Geeky Schmaltz Gautier? Is that like Gautier? Granlund? Spencer, which is that, like Cutter Gautier? If it's Cutter Gauthier, then probably Cutter Gauthier. I don't know what other Gauthier I'm thinking of. Sergachev or Sanderson? Sergachev. You know what? No, Jake Sanderson. I almost said Sergachev. Yeah, I think Jake Sanderson. It's close, though. Let me move the logo here as we get to our final round. Chris Kreider. That's a good pick. I've been trying to find him to be able to take a shot. Radko Gudas is a crazy pick, but you know, good block hit combo gives you some floor. I think Harley is a lock for power play 1, or still a toss up. I think, Jonathan, you're gonna see them kind of rotate Heiskanen and Harley for a little bit, but I think eventually Harley just plays his way onto power play 1. Like, they just leave him here. Cooley or Laugh? I like Cooley. Like, can't complain about 300 hits. Morgan Geeky, Joseph Wall, Brian Rust. Rust is injured. Death, taxes, and a Brian Rust injury, guys. Monahan, Jenner, or Bo Horvat? Bo Horvat. So Torn, Fantilli, or Cooley round 10, and I realized they're probably equal. Yeah, I think like Cooley probably has more point upside. Fantilli scored 30 and will get you triple-digit hits. So depends on your league settings, really, but they're both really good picks. Who do you like the most at the 12-13 spot in my league? Has similar scoring to FPPL. 12, like Jack Hughes. Like, going Hughes Dahlin's a really good start. Mark Stone, Gabriel Landeskog, the usual suspects we see in this round. I'm excited for Gabe this year. I think he's going to be really good. Like, his shot hit block, or his shot hit mix should be solid. Would love to see him on power play 1, though. Seth Jones to the 6th, the reach? No. Depends on how many defensemen you have and who's available, to be honest. Jenner's an absolute unicorn if he's healthy. Yes, he's just never healthy, Lucy. Like, he's another guy, like, I know people really like him, but what's his 82 game pace? Like, 50 points, 240 shots, 150, 160 hits with 90 blocks. Like, the block hit combo is really good. Anthony Cirelli is crazy. What? Have you guys been seeing those memes on TikTok where it's like, what's he building in there? Like, that's how I feel right now looking at Kachuk Cheese grab Anthony Cirelli. He's got subscriptions to those magazines. What's he building in there? I'm losing my mind, guys, if you couldn't tell. Jonathan Huberto, Troy Terry. I know the Apples and Genos guys are pretty high on Troy this year. They like his upside. The shot volume's just not there for me. I don't know. Connor McMichael. Where's a good place for Panarin? Anywhere in late round 2, round 3. Leon Bischel. And then I don't know who Timo picked. It won't show. GG's in the chat, guys. Good draft. Good draft. I'm moving the wrong graphic. Am I okay, Mitchell? No, I'm not. I don't think anyone drafted Josh Norris, Carl, unless it was the last pick, which is kind of crazy. All right, I'll answer a couple questions, then we'll take off, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy the content, please leave a like. It really helps us push our content to other new fantasy hockey players. Again, oh, no, it's not what I want. Please. There we go. There's the draft. Would you reach to the top to make sure to get one of the top 4 goalies? If one falls to me, it depends on where you pick, Charles. Like, I think in round 4, like here, if you see like Igor or Vasi available, I think it's worth consideration. But I like so many guys in the first 4 rounds that it's tough. Death, taxes, Norris injury. Exactly. Thoughts on taking Tristan Jarry late pure volume play? Nope. Do not take Tristan Jarry. If you're going to take one of the Pittsburgh's goalies, take Shelov's. He's going to win the starting role. Don't ever draft Tristan Jarry, please. Please, for whatever. All right, guys, I'll do it. Thank you so much. Appreciate your time. Yeah, 2 drafts tomorrow. 1 early, 1 late. I believe it's 1 draft Sunday. And then Monday is our big Creators League draft. So appreciate all of you guys being here. 25 likes. Leave a like on your way out. Love you guys. Yeah. At the latest, I'll see you on Monday. Think Lane Hudson can get 70 apples this season? Yeah. I think he could be like Quinn Hughes, to be honest.